Welcome back to the Fanspeak Network. I'm your host, Megan Shoup. You can follow me on Twitter at Megs08DFS. And before we get started, please be sure to like this episode and subscribe to the Fanspeak Network. Now, today we're talking Underdog Pick'ems, but we will have plenty of shows every week about Underdog, about daily fantasy, about sports betting. So be sure to subscribe so you know when we have new shows up. Now, that's right. We are talking Underdog Pick'ems today for week number 2. And the great thing about Underdog Fantasy is you can do different kinds of best ball drafts or weekly drafts or these pick'em contests each week in the NFL. And they're super fun because basically you look at player statistic and they have various stats for each player and you choose higher or lower. And then you put together an entry and you can even kind of have an insurance on an entry so that instead of you getting 5 right, all 5 right, if you get 4 out of 5 right, you can still, double, I think 2.5 times what your wager. So these are fun things about Underdog Pick'ems that basically allow you to get like 3, 6, 10, 20 times by putting together an entry of these different statistics of either higher or lower. So that's how you play. But if you're not an underdog, be sure to use code Fanspeak. Code Fanspeak gets you 100% deposit bonus up to $100. So you deposit 100, you get 100 to, again, play in either best ball drafts or weekly drafts or these super fun Underdog pick'em contests. They're super easy. And that's why we're doing a weekly show. We have a weekly article on fanspeak.com written by my brother, Steve. And then I'm here to talk about our pick'ems for this week. So as you can see, we're looking at the pick'ems that we like this week. And this is our entry for week 2. So I'm going to go through and quickly tell you why. And then if you want to, do a similar entry, you can, or just look around and see other stats that you like. But first we have Amon-Ra St. Brown. And as you can see later in this entry, we have Carson Wentz. I really like the Detroit-Washington game as a potential shootout game. Right now, the total is set at 48.5, but I think it could blow past that. When people think of Detroit and Washington, they don't get excited, but these are two teams that actually do have a lot of offensive weapons. So I like the potential here for this game to shoot out. And Amon-Ra St. Brown has gone higher than this statistic line in every game dating back to, let's see, Steve wrote about this, dating back to week 13 last season. He went over 60.5 receiving yards. So that's why we like the consistency of this and the game environment. So next we have Tom Brady, lower 276.5 passing yards. Now it always feels weird to bet against Tom Brady, right? But against New Orleans, he has struggled. In 5 meetings, he's only had one time that he's gone above 276.5 passing yards. And in fact, there's been plenty of times in the 5 meetings that it's been much lower. So it just hasn't been the right game environment for Brady, and he's missing Chris Godwin now. So with that said, we're going to go lower on 276.5 passing yards. Now, next we have Russell Wilson, 243.5 passing yards. I think that is way too low. So this is an easy higher for me. And I mean, he threw for well over 300 yards last week in the loss to Seattle. That game was kind of a debacle, but Wilson was still very efficient. He was 69% completion percentage. Like I said, over 300 passing yards. I think if there weren't those fumbles and the bad decision at the end of the game, we wouldn't kind of be talking about Wilson as some people are this week. I like Wilson, especially against that Texans defense. This stat seems way too low. So 243.5, we like the higher. And then we go to Carson Wentz. Yes, he is one of my Washington Commanders, but he looked good in week 1. And, he has weapons now. And this is the best quarterback Washington has had since the Kirk Cousins era. So with all that said, last week he threw for over 304 touchdowns. It looks like they have, they're going to let him, throw a little more with those weapons. They had I believe the 4th highest pass rate over expectation. And again, I like that game environment to potentially shoot out. So 250 yards, he blew past that last week, 250.5. I definitely like the higher there. So what do you guys think of our entry? Let me know in the comments section. And again, before you get out of here, be sure to like this episode, subscribe to the Fanspeak Network. But most importantly, if you're not on Underdog yet, I highly recommend you get on because these pick'ems are super fun, easy to win a little money. And again, have a good time with friends. You can share your entries with your friends and everything too. So again, check our article out on Fanspeak, go to Underdog, sign up with code Fanspeak, get that deposit bonus, and start playing pick'ems with us and let us know how you're doing. All right. Thank you guys so much for joining us, and we will see you next time.